Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I am pretty excited. I actually just got this back on Wednesday. It is Saturday morning. So if you remember, this is the cutter head on this jointer that threw the gibs out in the prior video, and it looks good there. So the machinist that I brought it to, local guy, he ordered in some proper thickness steel right here. So it's just slightly over the size of the space. So this is a really cool cutter head. So this, as you can see, this is how they machined this. It's kind of a safety cutter head, but instead of having a separate plate that can blow off like they do, they have they actually milled it, so these are part of the stock. So there's no way for these to fly off like they do on the other ones, which from what I understand from looking at tools, I mean, the safety cutter head came about in the early 1900s, pre-1920, and even after 1920 they were making them. So so this company tried to address that early on, it looks like, is my assumption. So that's it. So if you remember before, I mean, this thing was caked in rust. It was just absolutely filthy. So he came in here and, sorry, this camera is getting pretty beat, but anyway, he sandblasted everything down, he cleaned out the grooves, he put the new gibs in. These are still the original blades. I have to find a grinder because I did chip a couple when it threw the gibs. Like, there's a pretty bad chip. You can see it there. There's a pretty bad, where is it? Right there. Right there. Pretty bad chip right there. So I have to get the blades reground. But it only chipped one, so it is a 4-blade cutter head, so I think I'm going to go ahead and try and run it today and test it out. But he also did, and I'm going to leave a link in the description. He's up here in North Idaho where I am, and I was very happy. He was reasonable on his pricing. He was prompt. I mean, he had my cutter head for less than 2 weeks, and he thought through things. So he ordered these bolts for McMaster Carr, and then he put them on his lathe, and he turned them down, parted them down thinner, so the headstock wasn't high and interfering with the blade rotation. But the original bolts, which are over here, were these old style bolts, and what was happening is the end of the 6-point was hitting the flat spot, and not catastrophic, but you don't get that pressure that you get with a washer head bolt. So he bought these quality washer bolts, turned them down for me, and now I have really good clamping pressure on this bar, on that blade. So I feel pretty safe with this. I'm going to see how the chip curls go. If I feel like they're a problem down the road, I can always have the gibs that he made. I can always have him put a convex on them to curl it more. But I don't see it being an issue with the gulp that this thing has. As far as the blades are so thick. I mean, those blades are 5/16 thick tool steel. So yeah, there's a lot of blade hanging out behind that gib, but I don't see that being an issue with how much blade stock there is. So anyway, I am going to get this thing put together and oiled. I got to put the pulley back onto it and oil it up, put the caps back on, and fine-tune it, and then we're going to run it, and yeah, see what happens. Pretty excited. Alright, anyway, so this is the inner hub right here, this thing here with the bolts in it. There's your key, and that's the cutter head shaft, and then this is the actual pulley. So the pulley is oversized and fits right over the shaft easy, and this is split on the other side. Let's see if I can show you. On the other side, you can see right there, it's a split ring. And so, if you need to take this off, you switch these bolts to these holes, and this is threaded, but it hits the pulley, and it pushes the center out, and thereby letting you pull the pulley off relatively easy. So it can't rust weld in there or anything. And then when you put it back on, you just do the reverse, is you loosen this stock, center stock out, the split ring stock out, and then you slide everything gets slid loose in there. You just have to tap it in gently, and then you put the bolts back into the threaded holes, and the pulley started as well, and then you work them all together, and you pull the pulley onto that ring so that there's max grippage there. No chance of pulley slip on your machine shaft. So I just think that's good. It's nice to see good engineering. All right. I had that set to take barely anything off, so tighten that up. Let's fire her back up. The problem is it spits most of the curls over here, not down the other side.
I don't think there's any way to prevent that from not happening unless you put like a shield in.
Yeah. It has so much power, like, it doesn't even feel like you're pushing it through. It doesn't bog at all. That I'm not used to, because the jointers I've always had were adequate, but when the 6-inch jointer would pop the breaker sometimes, because it would be struggling. So.
You getting hot?
No.
No, your things.
Oh.
Now that you're using it.
No, cool. They're not even warm. Completely cool. Look at them curls. That's pretty good. There's no end snipe at all. Maybe like right there, like 128th maybe, if at all. So that's her. She's done. She's working. Done for now. Eventually I'll do more to her. Let's see. Nice big curls. Effortlessly. Unfortunately, it spits most of my curls down here over the motor. So, I'm not sure why that is, but obviously I think originally it was line driven, so they wouldn't have had the electric motor there, so it wouldn't really have mattered that you had shavings come down over here. But anyway,